it doesn't make noise. Did it break? Well, that's a little bit of a fail. Hi guys, I'm Kristen. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today it is my birthday. Not the day that I'm filming this, but actually it worked out with my uploading schedule, and the day that you're seeing this or the day that I'm uploading this, it is my actual birthday, and I am fortunately going to be spending it in Canada, hopefully with my family if I'm out of the hotel quarantine in time. So I thought I would do the birthday book tag video that I have seen floating around on BookTube the last little bit, and I will link the original creator down below. So I have decorated a little bit, not really. In Denmark, they celebrate birthdays with the Danish flag. For some reason, I'm not sure. If you are Danish, let me know down below. I could also just ask anyone here. Anyway, so let's get into the questions. The first question is called Birthday Cake, and the question is, a book with a plot that seems cliche, but that you adore anyway. So I'm gonna go with a book series, actually, that I think is adorable, and I sort of adore it. It's not one of my favorite series of all time, and that is the Shadowfell series by Juliette Marillier. This is one of Juliette Marillier's young adult series, and it is a historical fantasy set in Scotland. So here are the cliche bits. There is an evil for no reason king at the time who was just like straight up massacring people for no reason. There is, of course, a secret underground rebellion that our main character joins. And she happens to have a magical talent that was previously thought to be not existing anymore, and she is sort of the savior type. This is awkward, I don't like that. And over the course of the trilogy, she has to travel around to learn or to master 3 different elements of her magical talent in order to overcome the big baddie in the final book. So it's actually quite cliche. It's not Juliette Marillier's best work, but I did really enjoy it. I think it is quite adorable of a series. The main character, Naren, I think is her name, she is one of those classic good female characters where she is really kind and caring and wants to do the best for people, and she is loving towards the good folk and the fair folk in this world who are, of course, being massacred by the evil king. What I did really like about this series is that it was very sweet. There is a really cute romantic subplot that I really enjoyed because it was very bittersweet. They are forced to spend the majority of the time and the series actually apart, and so it makes all of the moments that they do have all the more special, and you can feel that in the writing, but also in the characters feel that as well. And it had a very realistic ending where you can tell that the characters have been impacted traumatically by the experience of being part of a rebellion and a war and having to face some of the less than ideal things that they were forced to do on behalf of the rebellion over the years. So I actually thought it had a great ending. I just think this whole series is really adorable, even though it is very, very cliche. Question number 2, party guests. Your most anticipated book release for this year. I feel like a broken record at this point. I didn't even know about this book or this series before, and now suddenly the sequel is like my most anticipated book of the year. It's gotta be Liar's Knot, coming out later this year, December 9th. Second book in the Rook and Rose series, the sequel to The Mask of Mirrors. I know, you've heard it before. But I will also say, leading into 2021, I think Flamefall by Rosaria Munda and Namesake by Adrienne Young were the books that I was most anticipating about 2021 leading into 2021. Question number 3, birthday presents, a book that surprised you with how much you loved it. I apologize to the people of Russia for what I'm about to say, for how I'm about to pronounce this word. And I know that I'm pronouncing it extremely wrong because I once tried to talk about this book to a Russian friend of mine here, and she had no idea what I was saying, and then when she realized, she actually laughed out loud in my face. So the book is Eugene Onegin. I know that's not how you say it, it's just what I'm gonna say, by Alexander Pushkin. And this is a book I do own, but it's back home in storage, and a book that I read with my classics book club from Toronto back home. This is a book written in verse, and I was really not looking forward to it. It was not my pick. I did not think I was going to like it at all. I thought it was going to be one of the most painful experiences of my life, and it was not. It was so beautiful. I will try to find a photo and put up the translated version that I read. There are a couple different ways you can go with this, with the translation. So either people translate it into the most accurate word for word translation and don't worry about like rhyming and verse so much, or translators go with trying to maintain the verse and making things flow as beautiful as the original and trying to get as close with the words as possible while maintaining verse. And that's the style of the translation that I read, which was recommended by one of my book club members who was picking this book for the month. The story follows the life of the titular character, Eugene Onegin, who is a bored dandy in St. Petersburg in the 1820s. The story itself is actually quite sad. There's a duel, things get out of hand, but the writing was so beautiful. The experience was so wonderful that it really, really threw me for a loop where I was expecting to hate the fact that it was verse, and it turned out to be the thing that I loved most about this work was just the beautiful experience of reading this lyrical story. I think I even missed, like when we were at book club, people were talking about all of like the really dark, horrible things he had said about love and life and relationships, and I think I missed all of that because I was just so caught up in how beautiful it all was. Question number 4 is the Happy Birthday Song, and that is a book that certainly deserved all of the hype it got. I gotta go with Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo on this one. I mean, I almost didn't read it for how much hype it has on BookTube, and it was amazing. Totally lives up to the hype. It's actually really, really great. I love the characters, I love the plot, I was caught up. It's a relatively quick, short book, but I just thought it was perfect. I can totally understand why so many people love it. I don't think it's going to be a favorite book of mine for all of time. And maybe that's just because of the age that I am, at which point I discovered it. But I think it deserves to be that young adult booktube darling that it is. Question number 5 is Happy Music. And it is a book with some very beautiful and truly memorable quotes. So for this one, I'm going to go with This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. This is a sci-fi speculative lit book about 2 agents on opposing sides of a futuristic and time travel war, where the 2 agents are traveling all over time and different universes and parallel existences in order to try to change things that will set their faction up for success in the future. The 2 agents, exclusively referred to as Red and Blue, begin corresponding through letters, initially as taunts, while they try to sabotage each other's plans. They kind of become really close, and it sort of turns into a sapphic romance. I am not someone that keeps track of quotes. I don't record them. I only recently started highlighting them when I'm reading, but I read library books, so then I return the book and that is gone. But this book had a lot of moments that I thought were so beautiful. The writing is so lush and evocative and thought-provoking. The letters themselves are so beautiful and quotable. There are certain ones that I even remember now, not exactly the specific words, but the gist of what it was about. Question number 6 is Getting Older, a book that you read a long time ago, but you think you would appreciate it more as a mature reader. I'm going to go with a classic on this one again, and that is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I was a little bit of a pretentious child. When I started to become a comfortable and avid reader, I was really kind of stuck up about it. And in the library, there was like my school library, my public school library, there was like one small section, like we're talking like actually one shelf of classics and harder, more difficult books. And Great Expectations was one of them that I remember. I know that I understood the plot, but I don't think that I got it. And I actually have always intended to go back and reread this book because I think just actually what the book was about and what was being said was so over my head, but because I could physically read and understand the majority of the words, I was like, yeah, I read that book. So that one I do really want to go back and read and actually like get it. And finally, question number 7 is Sweet Birthday Memories, a book that kept you incredibly happy during a sad or demanding period of your life. When it comes to books, I'm like people who listen to sad music when they feel sad, in that I read really depressing books when I feel really depressed. It's actually not the healthiest coping mechanism, I think. I don't know that I've shared my experience in great depth with the Farseer trilogy, but it was not healthy. But there is a book that I read or actually listened to the audiobook of during an extremely difficult period of my life. At the very end of university was an extremely difficult time for me, and I was both quite depressed and extremely anxious. I was having trouble like physically being quiet and doing nothing or not having anything to distract me, because it would make me think about things and spiral into an anxiety attack. But during this time, I was also trying to move a lot of my belongings. So I was moving out of my student house. So I was having to take multiple trips on weekends back and forth between my family's home and where I was living for school. And because it was a long period of time of sort of doing and thinking about nothing, I was really nervous about having an anxiety attack or just kind of sobbing the whole way and not being able to drive safely. And so my mom loaned me a CD book on audio for my drives. And so she doesn't remember the name of this book. I don't remember the name of it. I don't remember the author. I tried searching. I cannot find it. I do feel really bad about this because I'd love to be able to say, like, this book did really get me through a very hard time. And it was just something that there was enough going on with it. I was enough interested in it that it kept me focused on that and not on all of the stuff that was going on in my head. I wouldn't say that it kept me happy, but it kept me distracted. But other than that, my comfort reads are usually my all-time favorite books. And this includes Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier, The Fiona of Our Tapestry by Guy Gavriel Kay, Lines of Al Rassan by Guy Gavriel Kay, A Song for Our Bond by Guy Gavriel Kay. You're catching a theme here. And the Cushiel's Legacy series by Jacqueline Carey. I think I'm a very like cathartic, empathic person as well, and sometimes I just need to like really cry, and so I wind up reading these books which are all kind of bittersweet and sad and have really depressing, heartbreaking moments when I am sad, not only because I want to just cry and get it out, but also because they're my favorite books. I know those characters so well. They're like close friends who I have shared many moments and many experiences in my life with. And so I feel like it's coming, like this sense of like coming home back to a familiar world, a familiar place, and characters who you know through and through. Okay, that is it for this birthday book tag. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. I hope that I'm having a wonderful day on my birthday and that I am not in a quarantine hotel in Toronto. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.